So I want to get your take. First, we'll start with your reaction to something that Elon Musk tweeted out saying, quote, free speech is the bedrock of a functioning democracy, and Twitter is the digital town square where matters vital to the future of humanity are debated. Musk is going to take over this company in just about 6 months. What do you think he does first?
I'm so excited about this. I'm trying to temper my expectations, but the first thing I think he should do, even though I don't know if he'll do it, is clean house. Get rid of the CEO, Parag Agrawal, who stands in stark contrast on his view of freedom of expression to Elon Musk. He says, our role at Twitter is not to be bound by the First Amendment. He's spoken disdainfully about free speech in the past, and clearly Elon Musk thinks, actually, no, it's very different. This new vision that I have for the company is going to make it a place for the legitimate free expression of ideas. So that's great. So loosen some of those content moderation policies that led to the suppression of the Hunter Biden laptop story, that led to the permanent ban of Donald Trump. Great. Open source the algorithm, open up that black box. Let's see what they've been doing when it comes to content moderation, past, present, and future. Would love that. And then I think there's some really interesting things that he can do with machine learning to help detect bots. He talked about authenticated human. He wants that all over the platform. So that's great as well. So I think those three things start off right away. He is going to overhaul the platform, and that would be fantastic. Let's hope he puts his money where his mouth is, though. He's done well so far.
I love that. In the immediate future, I think Twitter, you think Twitter, a lot of people think Donald Trump. He had 90 million followers when his account was suspended. The former president says that he's going to stay on Truth Social, although he's not active on that yet. Do you think that's a loss for Musk if Trump's not back on there? I mean, again, this is a guy that wants to colonize Mars, so I think he's thinking down the road. But in the immediate future, does it matter that Donald Trump's not on Twitter?
I really hope that Donald Trump cannot resist getting back on Twitter.
Right.
I see a lot of cross-posting in his future. Maybe he takes a Truth Social post and screenshots it and then puts it on Twitter to still advertise his own business. But I do think it would be a loss if Trump doesn't come back. Yet we're seeing the reinvigoration of a lot of accounts who have been Mark Levin. Tucker hadn't posted in a month or so, and now he's saying, okay, we're back to you. So I think that this is all to the good. If Donald Trump doesn't come back right away, it is a short-term loss, but I don't know if Trump's going to be able to resist for long.
Yeah, I think so too. Especially, middle of the night, he'll be sitting there one day and just boom, send out a tweet. I think it'll happen, and I think he'll be active on Truth Social. All right, so here's the other side of this. Is there any chance that nothing major happens here? Musk has never said that he's a conservative. I think he's probably a libertarian. Not that it matters, but is there a chance that conservative America is overreacting to Elon Musk buying Twitter?
That's why I'm tempering my expectations. I don't think anything big happens unless he gets rid of the leadership. Again, looking at Parag Agrawal, looking at the head of legal, this woman, Vijaya Gadde, she's the legal policy and trust lead at Twitter. She was the one seen broadly as the architect of the Hunter Biden laptop suppression and Trump's ban. So get rid of those people who have really had their hands on the puppet strings. And I've even heard that he's thinking of bringing Jack back. We know how ineffectual he was when he stood up against some of these people who wanted more suppression and censorship on the platform. So there is a chance that nothing drastically changes. This deal's not supposed to go through for another 3 to 6 months. January has been bandied about as well. So we can't place our hopes on this being replicated, another billionaire white knight who likes free expression. I think Elon Musk is a singular guy, but at the same time, we have reason to hope. So let's stay with that train.
Yeah,
for a while.
Stay optimistic. Kara Frederick, great having you back on. Come see us again. We appreciate the expertise and the insight as always.